Boy, Yacht Club Games had their shit figured out, didn't they? The dream indie developer career path. Put out one fucking game that does gangbusters and then, well, join a fucking yacht club, I suppose. But lest you be cast into one-hit wonderland to forever attend the Mad Dexy's Midnight Runners tea party, sooner or later you've got to follow that up. I mean, the beer fridge on your yacht isn't going to fill itself. The tricky balance now is to play to your strengths while avoiding being accused of treading old ground. So how to do that with Shovel Knight, a very authentic-seeming retro-styled 8-bit game with the core mechanic revolving mostly around digging. You make Mina the Hollower, a very authentic-seeming retro-styled 8-bit game with the core mechanic revolved mostly around digging, but now you're a mouse. Fuck it, right? Everything's better with woodland creatures. Like that time they remade Cannibal Holocaust with woodland creatures and called it Watership Down. I kid, of course. Mina the Hollower is far from treading old ground. In fact, it breaks new ground. Quite a lot of new ground. Every second of the game you're breaking new ground, actually. Also, I was kidding about the Cannibal Holocaust thing as well. I thought that was clear, but you know how people are. In contrast to Shovel Knight being a side-on take on DuckTales for the NES where you're a knight who digs stuff, Mina the Hollower is a top-down take on Link's Awakening for the Game Boy Color where you're a mouse who digs stuff. Once again, it must have been an extraordinary amount of effort to look so convincingly like it on an 8-bit system, and once again this game could never in a million years actually be run on said 8-bit system, because the Game Boy Color would need to be about a foot thicker and with 17 more buttons. Story is, the eponymous Mina the Hollower gets a letter from a place called Tenebrous Isle, where she once built a bunch of power generators that the people now depend upon, asking her to do some routine maintenance. So she swiftly becomes Mina the Follower and heads over there. But as she's coming in, her ship is wrecked by a giant kraken, and the island is having trouble with swarms of monsters and a violent separatist movement who seem to be convinced that Mina's generators and the mysterious ancient power they run on might be what's causing the monsters. Surely not. Surely this will be the one decadent society grown rich and complacent on the use of a mysterious power they don't fully understand that won't reap an inevitable comeuppance. Yeah, it's one of those plots that I had entirely mapped out in my head within the first 5 minutes, especially after I met the lord of the island, a big scary well-dressed lion named Lionel. Mina the mouse, Lionel the lion, what is this, fucking fingerbobs, who assures us that everything will be just fine and all Mina has to worry her pretty little head about is exploring the island to fix the 6 generators, after which the sun will come out and we'll have a tea party and all these environmentalist rebels will realise they were wrong after, let's say, a reasonable amount of state-sponsored violence. Right, you are, boss man, or perhaps I should say, final boss man. Fortunately, Mina happens to be an unstoppable badass warrior mouse on top of being a jobbing civil engineer, and so we choose a weapon from the fast one, the more damaging one, or the one with the longer reach, and set off to repair the generators, which we can technically do in any order, but there is an obvious difficulty ramp, so in practical terms you're going to start with the generator being guarded by snails and bits of twig, and end with the one under the protection of the ferret Harlem Globetrotters or whatever. The comparison to Link's Awakening begins and ends with the look and some of the combat. The broader vibes are closer to something like Bloodborne, with the focus on opening up the world, unlocking shortcuts, finding spectacular boss fights, and a difficulty level taking an amount of piss that I would say is not unmanageable. Call it 8 or 9 litres, the sort of amount you could get away with in a swimming pool, but which would be a cause for concern if your dog produced it. Mina's signature core gameplay mechanic is her ability to briefly burrow underground like Bugs Bunny, which pulls double duty as both a traversal mechanic and a dodge in combat with a freer moment of invulnerability. Using it as a dodge does require some adjustment because it's delayed by Mina needing to do a little hop into the air first, and if there's an attack screaming towards you, you need to be already mid-dive to avoid damage, so the increased challenge comes from having to be generally more anticipatory, or alternatively just get used to popping underground as a response to basically everything like a fucking whack-a-mole. Sorry, is that racist against woodland creatures? The basic gameplay clicks when you have adjusted to always having to dodge about a half second before you think you have to dodge, and you're free to enjoy the nicely realised setting, the sense of exploration and discovery, the array of fun characters, and the let's call it functional art that pleasingly twiddles the nipples of nostalgia. However, Mina the Hollower's problem is that it's a lot less intuitive than it thinks it is. It seems to be violently allergic to tutorials. Hey, experiment, discover things naturally. We're such good designers, you don't need tutorials. What? You need better directions than somewhere to the southeast? Get away from me, where's my fucking EpiPen? Discovering through experimentation is all very well when it comes to figuring out that we move faster while burrowed and jump further when coming out of a burrow, but there were multiple occasions when I just had no marmot masturbating clue where to find the next area. In desperation, I went online to find some kind of map, not with much hope since I was playing a review build, and found nothing but a random hype TikTok titled something like, "Here's how Mina the Hollower's areas will be so well designed you won't even need a map." Well, I'm sorry to differ, Yacht Club Games, but not everyone has a great sense of direction or memory for where we've already been. I mean, I've been known to get confused and turned around, reversing out of my fucking driveway. Even more so when I'm doing it in a car. And while I've got you, imaginary version of Yacht Club Games that only exists in my head, where is the fucking logic in falling into deep water being instant death, but burrowing into deep water being the intended traversal method? What, does Mina also need a little hop delay to have time to remind herself that she knows how to swim? Well, I did figure that one out myself when I was trapped in an area that required me to do it to escape, but I was trapped there long enough that my reaction to the discovery was not so much aha as And then there's the mirrors. I kept finding mirrors in the world that didn't seem to have any function besides letting you make funny faces, and I didn't figure out until it became necessary to find the last generator that this is the fast travel system I was supposed to have been using the whole game. Turns out you can walk into mirrors if you keep pushing at them, but it takes a few seconds, and I don't know about you, but when I bang my head into a wall one time and my head fails to penetrate the wall, I kind of assume my relationship with the wall is concluded. But lucky you, viewer, you get to go into Mina the Hollower already knowing that, and can enjoy a fun, sprawling, nostalgic adventure that's breaking new ground, as long as you can actually penetrate it. Dig in. There's a lot going on below the surface. Its favourite kind of coffee is ground. I need to stop now, I've got a nosebleed.